Loop, 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 loop. London, 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 London.
Hello, hello, folks. You are listening to Bloop London Radio. As I said, you are tuned in live to Bloop Radio London with me, your host today, Redfreya, on the Urban Soundscapes show. And I'm here with a very special guest today, a very dear friend of mine, TIMANTI.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So TIMANTI, if everyone who listens to the show, if you're not aware, is an amazing artist in their own right who has been DJing for, I would say, is it about a decade or a bit longer than?
Maybe times two.
Yeah,
almost.
we've like got some years under your belt on the DJ scene, and you're a resident of Parable Music, as I am as well, and you've been doing some amazing things, releasing tracks this year as well on some big labels, including Pets Recordings with your latest release. So there's so much to get into on a chat just now on the show, which we're going to in just a moment. But the first question I wanted to ask you, which I always start with all the guests, is for anyone who's not listened to your music so far, hasn't come across you, how would you introduce yourself as an artist and sort of also like your sound?
So first of all, thank you for having me. And my name's TIMANTI. I'm a multidisciplinary artist because I like to dabble in different mediums. And I'm currently based in London, and I play a variety of sounds from the electronic spectrum. One of my favourite things to do is sort of grab different genres and mix them into a patchwork. And I draw a lot of influence from like Afro tech, house, melodic techno, also hip hop and garage, which is one of the sounds I started with, which we'll probably talk about in a bit. But yeah, you can hear sort of like a very percussive element to my sets, as well as like emotive feeling and emotion. So yeah, that's how I'd describe it, genreless.
Genreless, yeah. And I've listened to obviously a lot of your sets online, and you are quite a diverse artist in your sound. I think maybe now with the releases, with most of your releases are sort of more in the Afro house kind of territory, I guess, or closer to that now. But yeah, it's I think it's always a mark of a really talented, skilled DJ, of someone who just can play like any type of music. And we've played back to back as well. I remember on the Tribe Life Terrace, and we played like groovy tech, groovy house. It was really, really good. So how was your upbringing with music then? So obviously you're a professional DJ now. You've been doing this for a really long time. But how did you first get into being a lover of music? As you said, you're drawn by a lot of different types of sounds. How was your upbringing like? Was it a musical household? Records being played, instruments, that kind of thing?
So I'm glad you sent me the questions beforehand because I think if you asked me on the spot, I would have like froze and just been like, no, yeah. So I actually thought about this this morning, and I was actually thinking, I was like, my family wasn't necessarily musical, but we did have a piano in the house, and my grandmother, who I call Nonna, I'm from an Italian background, used to play the piano in our house all the time, and I remember just being like so in awe of it. And I started learning instruments at school, and music became kind of like an escapism for me. And there wasn't really anyone particular that was musical per se in my direct family, but my uncle loved to sing, and I just kind of found music as like the thing that was always there for me when no one else was necessarily, because I always was a bit of I always felt different growing up, which obviously I now understand why, but at the time I was felt isolated, and music kind of saved me, I guess. And in the house we used to listen to a lot of, like, at the time, like disco pop music, like Earth, Wind and Fire, Fleetwood Mac, Michael Jackson. And then when I was like teenager, I got into rap music, and that was like, I used to love Tupac. He was like my guy. And then as I got a bit older, I got into more the electronic stuff, like garage.
And I mean, that's pretty powerful to hear that music was like a kind of refuge place for you when you were younger, and you felt isolated and you couldn't necessarily like find your place, but you always have music. I think music is such a powerful thing, even now, like as a DJ, right? Like when you're communicating with people on the dance floor, it's quite like a healing, powerful thing. And obviously we'll touch on a bit later. I know you're now doing like the sauna circles and sort of branching out into more like the healing power of music on and off the dance floor as well. But yeah, as you said, like you got into garage and sort of electronic music when you're a teenager. Were you like, how did you start going to raves? How did you get into the rave scene in general?
So that's a bit of a funny story, actually, because I obviously I had a bit of time to think about this, and I actually remember like the first raves that I went to were the ones I put on. So I actually did my first party when I was 16. It was my 16th birthday. I hired out a hall, and I had my mum on the door. Big up, Mumsy.
Shout out.
And then, just like had my friend DJ, who's actually like a huge DJ now. Big up DJ TP. He was like massive over the football season. And I just remember like thinking, I want to do that. When I moved my parties to Caledonian Road for my 17th birthday, I was just like, I want to DJ. And at the time I was actually doing I started going to college and did music technology, but this was like, I sound like a fossil. When I started DJing, CDJs didn't even exist.
Yeah.
It was literally turntables, and Ableton didn't exist. It was Logic and Pro Tools, Logic 5. And my college wasn't really, it was music technology. I was like 16 to 18, but the college was music technology, but we sort of learned how to like mic up bands, because it was more like that's how far the technology was at the time, and like it was more about recording live instruments and then sort of chopping it up and piecing it together. And we did a DJ module, and I just remember I was like, literally, everyone was male in the class apart from one other person, and that other person liked rock music and I liked garage. So like the class was like divided into these two camps. And I just remember all the boys were like amazing producers. Like they'd been producing on Fruity Loops since they were like 12.
Yeah.
And then I was like, ugh, didn't understand any of it. So I when we did the DJing module, I was like, yeah, this is me.
My time to shine.
I was like, I'm going to do this one because it's easier.
Yeah.
And yeah, just kind of like progressed like with the DJing first, and then obviously started getting into more going out to raves and stuff like with friends from college. And yeah, but the electronic music, sort of house music, came like in the uni days.
And I mean, super interesting story. And you've been based in London. Is that like you've basically grown up here? And you're saying like Caledonian Road for your 17th birthday. Like, shout out North London.
Yeah, I have. I've travelled. I was really lucky actually. I went to, well, after college, I went travelling at 19, which was absolutely mad. Like, to think about it now, the places that me and my best friend went was like insane. And like the things we got up to during that trip, like I would never do that now because I'm just so sensible. Like I'm so sensible. Like
You're retired.
But yeah,
From the crazy days.
But back then we would like, yeah, we were just crazy. And obviously I was a DJ at the time, and I basically used to stay in the hostels and DJ to get like accommodation. So it was so much like we had the best time. And then I came back and tried to go to uni for 2 months, and then realised that it was a waste of time to do music for me. So I went and worked. I got a work experience via the uni, and went and worked in a promotions company. So that actually taught me like a massive like part of the industry that I don't think I would have even known about hadn't I started working there. And my really good friend at the time, who's still a really good friend actually, big up Emmanuel, he runs a company called Hear This now. He started taking me and introducing me to a lot of like electronic music, and we used to go out. Skins was a big thing on the TV at the time.
I remember the days, yeah.
And we actually DJ'd at the Skins parties in
No
Bristol
way.
and like it was mental. So like that was like sort of my, you know, first like experience with that kind of music. And then I went to Ibiza and like my life changed.
Wow. The cliche, but it's true. No, it's just so interesting. Like, I think you've had like such an interesting journey so far. And I remember, I think this story that you told me of once also, like playing a gig where like there was like, it was like a vinyl setup and there was like only one turntable or something. So you had to like do like a bunch of effects or something and like make it like a drop between every track and quickly like change the records.
Yeah, I mean, that was when I did a Valentine's party. I used to have an event called Beautiful People before Beautiful People Festival was ever a thing. And we did a Valentine's party, and yeah, the event was in central London and they had one turntable, so that was interesting.
That's definitely how you call yourself like a skilled DJ. Like I can work with any tools, guys. I'm here for it. And now obviously, like as you said, this has been kind of a long journey for you, and it's really like meandered around from like, obviously you traveled around the world, you're DJing in hostels, you've played a lot of different genres of music, so it's quite a big question to say, oh, what sets from your whole career have stood out? Because I guess you've had like a lot of different sections of your career, but what is there like one or two DJ sets for you that have been really transformational or have been like a turning point for you, where you played the set and I don't know, you felt like such an amazing energy in the room, or it was just like, because sometimes you have those experiences with the dance floor, right? And I wanted to ask you if there's like one or two you want to mention and maybe why they would have been special for you.
So I think obviously, yeah, like you said, there have been many, and some of the most memorable, funny ones come from the past.
Yeah.
When I was starting out, like I said to like my best friend Lole, who sung on a record with me, we played at Shoreditch House for our EP launch, and like MK was in the room. Seth Troxler was actually doing a party upstairs, and then like Heidi was in the room, and there was like all these huge DJs in the room, and I was DJing there with my socks, and there was like, you could see my socks like under the table, and like I had this was like before like all the projection mapping as well, so I had like projector on my face, and like those memories were just like, those ones like really stick to me. But obviously to think of the ones as like, I've been releasing music consistently. And as Timanti, I'd have to say, like, last year when I warmed up for Monolink, and that weekend I actually did 2 gigs at the Electric Brixton, which was mental, because I didn't realise they were going to be at the same venue. And I ended up closing for Tin Liquor for Free From Sleep with just her and Toto Kiavata. And that was like an amazing lineup to be on. And then they put me on at the end, so like 4 till 6. And I was just thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do that? And then play again, warming up for Monolink the next day at the same venue.
Just stay at the venue. Don't go home. Just stay there.
And I remember just being so nervous about that closing gig, and it was actually amazing. Like, I had the best time. And then I did the warm up for Monolink, and I just remember like pinching myself, thinking, "Oh my God, like there's so many people staring at me."
Yeah, also because of the setup in that venue, it's like a stage that's kind of like out a bit. It's like being on stage more than just a regular DJ booth, right?
I was so nervous, but like having like everyone that I know in the crowd, and like you see them, and it's just like it feels like safety.
Yeah.
You know, but that was an absolutely epic set. And then I have to say, like, one of my favorite sets as well was when I closed Warm Up Festival on the Sunday. I didn't close, but I was one of the last sets on the Sunday in 2021.
Yeah.
And like I actually played the Friday, and then someone didn't turn up for their set, so Aidan asked me to play. And I remember thinking, oh my God, like, how am I going to top that set that I'd spent like months preparing for? And I literally had like half an hour to like think of what I was going to play. And it ended up surpassing my set from the Friday. And the energy there was just unreal. And I had all my friends jumping up on the stage. And it was just like one of those moments, like, this is what it's all for, you know, like, and everyone was just like so like engaged and connected. And yes, when you do things like that, you remember why you started doing it, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I think there can be like there's moments when it cannot be as good, you know, in this career. There's moments when you're tired and you're traveling and it's stressful, whatever. So you really need those moments where you're like, this is it. This is why I'm doing it. And also because, you know, there's I don't know, like swear on the radio, there's bullshit, you know, in the music industry in general, right, as well, like that the music industry is so different from the job that we're doing as DJs and artists to try and connect with people. So I'm so happy to hear that extra set went, like, that surprised it. I feel like it's often the way, actually, that no matter how much you prepare and you make playlists and you're like, you think about what you're going to do, but then sometimes when you get thrown into those hot mess situations, that's when like the real chaos and then the beauty comes out of it.
Yeah, 100% agree.
And I mean, time is getting on. There's so much to talk about with you today. I really want to ask you about the event series as well, because you've just been doing so many things. Like, you've really had a lot under your belt, and obviously Tribe Life is an amazing concept and event series, and it was really like a great pinnacle that you took over. It was the Black Studio at E1, was it? Oh, yeah, which is like a huge deal. E1, obviously one of the biggest and best known clubs in London, and really great lineup on that event. Was it DJ Jeff?
The Jeff and Sin City. And
you playing, and let's talk about that a little bit. So, like, how has running the event concept been, and also tell me a bit more about like the Sauna Circle as well, which is kind of under the same Tribe Life brand.
So Tribe Life has been going for I've obviously been running events since I was 16, but they've always changed names. But the Tribe Life concept is probably I was trying to work it out, actually. Maybe it started as Timanti and the Tribe, but then I was like, I didn't really want to be the centre focus of it, so it morphed into Tribe Life around I think 6 years ago, and we were doing them at Grow, and they were amazing. And then obviously it was just like a little bit limiting in terms of like capacity and like pre-sale of tickets, and growing it in terms of like lineups and stuff like that. So yeah, Johnny came up with the offer for bringing it to E1 Black Studio, which at the time I was like, oh my gosh, like, how can I go from a 300 cap to like a 700 cap venue, like just like that? And I was really scared and nervous, and they've just been amazing at supporting like homegrown like sort of London talent. So I like really respect them for that, because they were like, you know what, we'll do it. And then they helped me get the lineup, and yeah, it was awesome because I remember being at the event and then like Sin just turned around to me and was like, "Yo, this is your party. Like, look what you've done, man." And I was like, "Oh, whoa!" Because at one point I kind of like it was almost like an out of body experience. I felt like I was in Ibiza at like High Black Coffee event because everyone from the scene was there,
Yeah.
and I kind of forgot that it was my event because I was just like transported out of my body into like a raver, and it was just like really surreal. But yeah, like the whole concept behind Tribe Life, we used to do talks at the event beforehand, and it sort of built like but was like thought provoking and like built a sense of like community with the people before we had the party, and people just used to like get on so well, and then the party was amazing because the energy was just so like vibrant. So obviously lockdown happened, and then they turned into a talk series. I want to bring them back, but it's so much work because also I have the performance aspect as well at Tribe Life, and it's like it's sort of like immersive theatre within the event, live visuals. So there's like loads of moving parts, and obviously at the moment I'm doing it alone, so it's that on top of trying to be an artist, DJ.
All the things you have to do as well when you're a DJ, like being your
Yeah.
own publicist and social media and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's almost like you need a team at some point to help you with it. But the concept is really amazing. And obviously I had the pleasure of being on the lineup of one of the events, and like I remember just seeing the crowd in that room and being like, wow, like this is amazing. This was one of the ones that grow, obviously, and yeah, you've cultivated something really special with the crowd already, I think. Like,
Yeah.
and obviously with the sauna circle, it's like a more focus on kind of healing, right? And
Yeah. So like another like sort of obviously because now we're not doing the talks at the event, I wanted to still have that wellness connection aspect because especially for me, like I feel like I'm isolated a lot of the times. Like I'm alone in the day, then I go to work, DJing at night. So like this community aspect's so important to me, and the sauna, especially like, well, basically the Hackney community saunas like saved me last winter. I would just go there, like make so many friends, like so much so that I was like became really embedded within the community there. They're amazing, and they allowed me to start to host these really special sauna circles, which is sort of a singing like ceremony. We do like intention settings, and I run it with my really close friend Michelle Cade, who's Mind Like Water on Instagram. And yeah, and also we have like an amazing lady called Mira who does Aufguss, which is like a traditional sauna ritual, and and we do the cold plunges, and it's just been like so transformative. Like people have been having like huge shifts. So we host them, like we try and do them like as much as possible, but obviously we have to like schedule with the sauna timings and stuff like that. But I want to like I'm actually going to train in the Aufguss myself.
that's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm a bit nervous, to be honest, but yeah, so just want to start putting them in like more regularly, and then we're going to do like a mixed group one as well. So yeah, it's just like sort of building those sort of out of the club, so you can still connect with the people that you meet from the club, not just trying to shout over loud music.
Exactly, yeah. And also, I mean, not just like have that connection with the people, but also you're having like a different kind of experience. Like it's not all about the party, you know. And because we all love like the dance floor environment, but like there is a party environment at the end of the day. There's a lot of drinking, it's always like often staying up till the early hours or the next day. So it's really nice to see an event that's really focused around things that bring you into your core self and like ground you. I think that people involved in the dance music scene really need that. Like it's really good that you're kind of championing that. All right, well, I think we've got just a couple more questions left before we dive into some music. I wanted to ask you obviously about your releases. We haven't even touched on that yet, but yeah, you've had a few really big releases this year. I'm really bad at pronouncing it. Fuana. Yeah. So like there's that one, and I absolutely loved that track. And I remember we played that at Coco, me and Rebecca, and then obviously the Rare.
Yeah.
On Pets recordings with Angelos. Just came out, was it about a week ago, 10 days ago?
And Other Side with Just Her.
Other Side with Just Her. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you've literally been really busy this year, and obviously you've been producing for a while. So yeah, let's talk about that. How's your journey been finding your voice as a producer, as an artist, and then how have these sort of collabs come about? How's it been?
So I was thinking about this. I was like, me and production have a love-hate relationship because I feel like it's so like hard to focus on a screen for so long.
Yeah.
I find the idea part really easy because it usually just flows out of me when I've had like lived experience, been to a festival, like an art exhibition, or generally some dramatic feeling has occurred within me. I just need to get out. So like the ideas and those sort of stuff, like when nothing's really going on in my life, I can't write music.
Yeah.
And I've just accepted that because I over the years I'm like, oh my god, like I've got writer's block forever now. And so I just like do other things when that happens. But in terms of like, these tracks, how every track that I make has to have like a story behind it. It's a piece of art to me. I can't just make tunes just for the sake of like I'm gonna make a banger, you know. So yeah, that was the sort of like the main thing. Like I want each piece of music to be like a part of my soul that I leave into the ether.
Yeah.
Once it's out, that's a part of me out there in the world. So like I usually sit on tracks for a really long time before putting them out there in case I regret it.
I think in a way that's kind of a good idea though, because once it's out there, you know, and it's and you're right, like it's hugely personal when you like make this music, and also your music specifically, it's quite emotional music. I feel like you can really tell there's emotions in it.
And sorry, I think I missed the part of your question there about like how did I get my sound, or like I think for me, because I like so many genres, there's a lot of times where I make music and people are like, what is this, like what genre is this, or where do you see this? And I'm like, I don't know, like I just make it because that's what comes out. And a lot of my stuff has been like that, and I think for me it's important that it's just a reflect, like I'll have certain like hooks in my head that are like definitely like a Dr. Dre hook, like obviously not his, but like it would sound better in a Dr. Dre line. And then people are like, it's not really house music, but I'm just like, I don't care, like I like it. So I just kind of do like, I like breaking boundaries with my sound, and I want that to be like something that hopefully is, you know, what I'm known for. Yeah.
Do you feel any pressure to conform? Like, do you feel like there's a pressure from the industry that you should be a certain way? Like, do you feel like when you make music that's more boundary breaking, that like, I don't know, it's harder to push it out there in some ways, or like, how do you find that?
I think like if you just look at me as a person, I'm just so not conforming in any way. So like I think it's obviously like reflected in my music, and I've always found like it really difficult to fit in anywhere. Like so I've always sort of felt like the odd one out. So that's why I created my own thing, because I was like, if I create my own thing, then it's something that is mine and no one can really tell me what to do.
Yeah. No, for sure. And actually, that's a nice segue, because I wanted to ask you, obviously, being a gender non-conforming person and like your experience in the industry, sort of in a minority position. I mean, the industry is full of like, not to bash cis white men or whatever, but like it's like that's the main demographic in the industry. Like, how has been your experience navigating the dance music space? Like, I don't want to ask like, oh, have you experienced discrimination or anything? But like, how have you found it? Because I think I can only speak as being like a woman in the industry, but the industry is much more balanced now, but it's when I started like 5 years ago, there were less women, and certainly sometimes people like stereotype you in certain ways, or like there's tokenism, there's all this sort of stuff. Like, how's been your experience handling that? I don't know.
Well,
it's a huge question. But
yeah, I mean, I've been through it twice, to be honest, because when I started, obviously there was no female DJs, and I was obviously like more on that in
Yeah.
that realm. So it was just like I had that first round of discrimination when there was 0 female
Yeah.
DJs, and like people would just laugh when I tried to say I was a DJ.
Yeah.
So I had that, and then obviously did the whole, you know, all the models became DJs, and then it was like all that sort of thing. And then obviously I had a big realization, and realized I was actually didn't really fit into any mold of gender.
Yeah.
And then it's like navigating that, which I didn't have no one to look up to, no understanding of even what that was, and I had to learn it all myself. And it's been like tough. It's like there's been moments where I've just wanted to stay in my room and like not even do music anymore, or just be on Instagram or any of it, because it's like sometimes, you know, I've told people my pronouns, and then I've even sent them, you know, like I've sent them my bio with all the pronouns in, and then they've still misgendered me.
Yeah.
And it's like it's heartbreaking, and like it's really tough. Like, so I think like now it's and a lot of people are scared to even attempt to talk about it. So they just think, oh, we just won't book you, or we won't deal with you because we don't know how to handle you, instead of just being like, oh, like I don't really understand, but you know, ask questions. And it's been obviously this has been like quite like in the last like 5 years of my life, so it's been a really tough place to sort of try and navigate, on top of the whole, you know, being a female in the industry, and then being a non-binary person or gender non-conforming person, and then with all the stuff that's going on in the you know, media with, you know, trans rights and all that. It's just like it's a lot. It's heavy.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's a heavy weight to carry. And then there's also the feeling of almost like kind of representing the space for other people in a similar position to you, and you maybe feel a bit, I don't know, maybe you feel like you sort of also have to carry the weight because like you're in the scene. So it's like there's also that pressure of like you're like in the limelight, and you need to, like, everything that you're doing is kind of pushing the boat forward for anyone who can relate. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, I think it's very inspiring that you're like you know, holding conversations and stuff with it. But it's frustrating that people don't want to talk about it. You know, I think that's the way forward. That like promoters and stuff, there needs to be more conversations around just making the industry feel like a better space for everybody to be themselves.
Yeah, I think with me as well, like I don't really like sitting talking badly about things, because I just think by me existing and me doing the thing, it gives other people that might be in a similar position like hope that there is a way to do it, you know.
Exactly.
And gives them inspiration, and I just like try and keep my heart open even when I get bashed around, like in life in general, like with all our life pressures that we get, you know, everyone struggles with different things on a daily, and I just constantly just try and keep my heart open and, you know, carry on doing what I'm doing, because I think, you know, somewhere it's all I know how to do as well, you know.
Yeah, no, I think the core element here is like finding a place to be your true self and your authentic self, and you're obviously like one of the people who's really like leading the charge on that. You're like one of the most authentic people I know. So yeah, I'm so happy to have you here on the show today. Thank you so much for this great chat. It's been amazing. Guys, you can find TIMANTI on Instagram, on SoundCloud. What's your Instagram handle? Do you want to
TIMANTI, so that's TIMANTI, and then 2 underscores. And then SoundCloud is TIMANTI Music.
TIMANTI Music. And anyone who's a follower of the show, you'll be able to find the track listing of the music we're going to play now, or TIMANTI will play on my Instagram as well, at Redfreya. But we're going to get into a studio mix now with TIMANTI, so stay locked for the next hour. And thank you so much for being here with us, TIMANTI.
Thank you so much for having me.
Jag ryser varje gång som du säger mitt namn. Och jag kan se att